Tell me about your revelation.
I switch up the words a little bit. Tell me
About your revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your revelation.
Tell me about your revelations. Okay, that opened me up a bit. I needed that, like.
Okay, I have my husband left his little comfort T-Rex over here too.
Oh, that's so cute.
Just the little arms. He's
Does
excited.
He have a name?
Rexy. Real simple. And my comfort turtle has these big eyes and looks concerned. That's just Turtle. Very simple. Keep it simple.
Wait, I'm looking at the artwork behind. Yes.
Yeah, this one, it's almost finished, not yet. You know, I feel like there's this thing that they say about artists. It's like your work is never finished. It's just quote unquote abandoned. Like you've rested, it's on pause. Even if you give it to someone else, like it's on pause. You could go forever. But this is one piece I did last week. And it's starting to look like a garden rose, which is interesting.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I've been painting nonstop. There's so many pieces. Like if I look out in the floor, like in front of me, they're just paintings everywhere. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
I'd love to see a picture of that when you're open to it. I'd love for you to send me a picture of it.
Oh yes, I have so many. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna add some more or not, but I have them on deck and ready. Those are my flowers. I got some new flowers today, so I arranged them. So.
So, Diamond.
Yes.
Who are you? Who are you?
I am Diamond Greer Jones. That's my name here in this lifetime. I am Radiant Grace. That's my soul essence. It goes by Amiata or Ania. And I don't know, I feel like I've just been evolving so much over these last few months and honing in on just how I am meant to serve in this lifetime. And grace is one, right? Seeking grace, making space for grace to arise, and guiding just people back to themselves, right? Not even just in the, me holding your hand and doing it. That's not really it, right? More in you back into your soul essence, back into your essence, back into that deep remembrance. And so like that comes in so many forms, and it's beautiful and it's magical and it's mystical and it's an exploration journey and everything. So those are the things that are unfolding now. Who I am many things, but we'll go with that for today.
I love that. And I'm so happy that we decided to do something like this, because the path of the mystic or even the spiritual seeker is one that can feel so lonely or isolating when you don't have your people. Yeah. And then you think like, am I crazy? Am I the only one going through this? And when you like find someone that just like clicks and you feel them, you feel each other. Oh, it's just so amazing. And when we met for the first time in Chicago, I say for the first time as if we met in person more than once.
Yeah.
In
this lifetime.
When we met in person, it was like, she's just as incredible as she is online. It's amazing. And I just felt so comfortable and just, yeah, it's just who you are. Like you're just open and receptive and loving and not judgy, and just I love that about you.
I love you.
So I feel like I'm like a little emotional today. I don't know if it's the full moon, whatever, but I was thinking about like the mystic life, and I was thinking about us putting ourselves out there doing this podcast, and how important it is for I feel like it's so important for us to share this side of ourselves. And it's not as if like we're in teacher or channeling mode. That will come through when it needs to, but like we are just, this is us right now. And we're talking about our experiences and our spiritual journey and just like all that stuff that it's so important for people to see because things aren't perfect. And we're talking about like how we figure life out. And that's just so that like opens up my soul, and I just want to cry just thinking about, I feel like this is opening up something really important, something really special, that we can just be here in this vulnerable state and share ourselves.
I love these portals that are opening. I'm here for this.
Yes.
You didn't tell them who you are.
Do I need to?
Yeah, if I have to, you have to. Fellow mystic.
My name is Alanna Dukes, and I am a mystic, and I'm an artist, a creator. That's who I am. Is there something you want me to add? You gave me this look like, that's it.
Well, first off, I love the fact that you're like boom, 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 right? So that's just hilarious in my ego side. That's like you just said it so succinctly, right? Like, wow.
You know why? Because I don't like I don't like talking about myself, and I especially do not like labeling myself.
Same.
So the fact that I was just able to spit that out so succinctly,
that was magical.
So I'm just able to be like, yeah, that's me at this second. Ask me tomorrow, maybe it will change. But I can accept that's what I am today.
You know what else came up? It was also like, soon as you shared who you are, this like fire came through, and it's like fiery grace and jewelry and all of these things came through. So while you're saying, you're like, the 4 to 5 things, your soul was like, and downloads.
Maybe one day I'll feel comfortable enough to really talk about it. But I feel like you need to experience me.
That's how I feel too. With me too. And at this, I mean, we experience each other, so we have that. And I feel like you are fiery, compassionate grace. And the fiery, compassionate grace that fills your entire heart center to the point where like you do want to cry, and at the same time you are tapped into your mastery, right? Like it's that remembrance, that reminder that is like passionate and just what comes up is like this velvety, like luxurious, like knowing, right? Like that comes up. And for me in our journey, I remember when before we even became, I don't know what we call it, I don't even want to say soul sisters. It's kind of like soulmates. I don't know. Soul fusions. We'll go soul fusion.
Okay.
Whatever we want to do. We'll see what our higher selves say, right? As they sip their ethereal martinis during this. Like I was on my journey just trying to uncover how my soul expresses and what's true for me, and being comfortable in that. Like I was very comfortable in the ways that I chose to play roles in my life. Very incredible at roles, right? A plus 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 on roles. But what's my way? What's Diamond's soul
Yes.
saying? How is she communicating? How does she want to express? And being like, instead of me trying to force myself in a certain box of how I'm expressing or how I should express, or this person channels this way, or this is how they serve people. It's like,
Yeah.
what's coming through for me? And throughout our journey, I've been able to just unfold in that very beautiful way, and also very challenging way. As you know, as a mystic, unfolding is like beautiful and paradoxically painful at the same time. And right, and just being in your presence and your community and everything, I feel like I've just been like oozing this velvety goodness and fiery side. I'm more into my fire. And
Thank
I'm
you.
just loving it. I love you.
I love you. I feel like it's been nearly a year since we've started talking, right? Because I know like we started talking about your amulet for your birthday. Yeah.
And I'm wearing her right now. People who are hearing cannot see. However, Amiyata is right here.
So, yes. Wow. Timing is like God's timing is just because I just realized, it's been just about a year.
Have you had your 1 year anniversary?
For my Patreon?
Of
what? Of what?
For jewelry, for like soul amulets, for the making of certain pieces, like certain collections.
So here's the thing, and this is what also has me emotional. So just about a year ago is when I started studying ancient goldsmithing. That's when, because I know like I had been wanting to do it for years, and then the pandemic happened, and so that intensive was delayed a year. So I was able to take it last year. It was July 2021. And then so they're starting up the intensive again. It started this week. And it's been such a strange feeling. Like comparing myself now from comparing myself last year and now. And I actually the chain I'm wearing now was my first piece that I made for myself in gold last year at the goldsmithing ancient I can't even talk ancient gold studies intensive. And I specifically chose to do this piece as my first project because I knew I already loved making chain and everything, and I wanted to do something repetitive so I could get the skill down in like how does gold act when you're fusing it. So I knew like I'm gonna make a million links and then I'm gonna understand how it works. And also I just like loved this chain. So I put the chain on hold like after the intensive because I had to work on, I didn't have to, but I prioritized my commissions and everything like that. And then I started it again maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. And today is the day I finished it. I put the clasp on today and everything. And like, it's funny, I'd spent hours just staring at the chain, not ready to complete it. And then today was the day that it was completed. And so one of the things that came up for this episode is like, in what ways are you telling God no? And what ways are you like hearing a calling, a silent whisper to go do something, like do this particular thing, or like focus on XYZ? And then you say, like, no, that's not important. Why would I do that? Like, yes, I want to do that, but why? There's so many other things that I need to do. And in what way are we telling God no to these callings that we have that could change our lives for the better? And I want to tell a story. Like, when I first started learning about metalsmithing and everything, and I studied it for maybe a year or two. I have no concept of time since this pandemic and everything, and also just being in and out of time. So during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, I was going through some heartbreak, and I just like was not happy whatsoever. I was just grieving, not like, this was like the worst grief I've ever experienced. And I kept hearing a voice saying, go make some chain, go work on some jewelry. And I'm like, why? Why would I do that? And this person I was grieving, I gave so much of my like sexual energy to. It's not about like a physical, it wasn't not in a physical way, but like I gave so much of my sacred sexual energy to, and my focus and my attention. And then when he was gone, it was like I still wanted to give it to him. And the voice in my head was like, go do this. And I did not understand why I was being called to do that. So finally I listened. I was like, okay, I'm going to just order some silver and I'll just work on a chain. And it started, I felt whole again. I felt complete. I was pouring in my creative sexual energy into my jewelry, and I started to feel happy, and I started to feel pleasure and play. And I was like, oh, now I know I was getting the calling to do this because it's part of my healing journey. I thought it was just like utter like useless BS. Like I thought it was a distraction. But really it was like God's whispers, like, child, you want to be healed? Go do this. Let this transform you in such a way. And man, has my life changed because I allowed myself to focus on that when there was nothing else to do except for cry. But it was during the beginning of the pandemic. So like most things were closed. I think the jewelry studio was closed too. It's not like I could take classes. So I just spent time. I think I made like 4 chains. And by the time I got back to the studio and I was like, oh, this is what I did during break, they were like, whoa, what are you? You've been busy. And yeah, a year. What a difference a year makes.
Alanna. Telling God no, and God being like, poke, 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 poke.
Yeah. That's
what about now? What about now? What
yeah.
about now? What about now? What about now?
What about now?
What about now? And then it's like, now, 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 right now. You don't hear me? Okay, here we go. Here's some pain. Okay, now, right?
Yes.
I can't imagine a world where you are not making channeling, right? Like channeling through these soul pieces. I feel like every piece is a soul piece. Every piece is a soul journey, a deep remembrance. I mean, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine my life without my soul amulet. I can't. like the conversations that we have, me and my soul amulet, you just the grounding, just the remembrance, just the shade. Okay, I appreciate. I can't imagine it, and I am so looking forward to the unfolding of that in you and your journey, and oh, so much goodness that I know is gonna come through because I'm getting some downloads already. It was just like, ooh, yes, please.
Thank you. And like, it's nothing that I would have imagined. Like, I could not make this up. It's just bizarre. Oh, I'm gonna learn how to make jewelry. Oh, I'm gonna be a goldsmith. Oh, I'm gonna channel amulets for people. When I went to college for mathematics and business studies and had no clue what I was gonna do, I was just like, I'm just gonna make money. I'm just that was my goal. And then I did that and I was like, is this life? How are you like into your profession? You got into HR and all of that. And I'm curious, like, did you think like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do? This is what life is for me. Did you feel that way, or did you feel like there was something more?
I always, when I was little, I wanted to be a witch when I grew up, which is hilarious
Oh.
now. Because I saw Sabrina the Teenage Witch and all these things. And I wanted to not help people just deal with life. I wanted to transform it. I wanted to change
I love
circumstances.
that.
So I'd be in my little bathroom, making little concoctions
Oh, I love
and all
that.
that stuff. And so then I tried to fly off a ladder in a back room at home. I know my mom was like, "What the hell?" And I got like 2 scars, so I couldn't fly. So I was like, "Well, I guess I can't be a witch." My idea of what a witch was at the time.
So cute.
So I was like, "I'll just be some normal, fine." I was so brutal. So I was like, maybe I'll be like a forensic scientist or like a chemist or something like that. Because chemistry, I just enjoy, right? The labs and the
Uh-huh.
making of things. So long story short, that plus a bit of
I'm
ancient
laughing like, oh, I guess I can't be a witch, so I'll be a chemist.
These are my ideas of like regular person stuff at the time, right? Young. Meanwhile, I'm like reading ancient everything, fall in love with like ancient Egypt, had a dream, visions. I had so many visions as a kid that I didn't realize that I was having, but they were just there and everything, and me being there and just me being, back in ancient times and wondering what was life like, etc. And so then fast forward to my life that I get to college, and by that time, I hate chemistry because college ruins chemistry for you, just ruins it. I did 1 or 2 semesters, like I can't do this anymore. And got into learning and organizational change and FM studies and studying all these things, right? And got to study abroad. It was an opportunity to study abroad, and guess where it was? Egypt. I
Wow.
could not believe it. I could not believe it. And so my studies in college were all around like changing circumstances, everything, very much on the forefront, all these things here. Get to corporate life, mind you, I caddied, all other stuff. That's a whole life story. We can go into that another time. But by the time I finished college, I was okay, I'm not gonna go get my PhD. I want to be in the world and actually see what I can change. Went to an organization and in finance and all that jazz. Ended up in HR because I didn't want to like be on the making money side in that kind of regard. I want to be on the
Mhm.
people changing side. Like, can I change people? Can we change circumstances? All this stuff. So that's how I ended up in HR, accidentally climbed the ranks, all that jazz. But in the meantime, my curiosity just kept growing. So while
Mhm.
I was doing that kind of career trajectory, at the same time, I kid you not, I would be in fellowships, I would be doing like human-centered design, designing experiences, starting and running like an organization for women, connecting and developing women, like facilitating workshops, all these things there. And then getting into so much. My master's, I was like, I don't want to do HR. So I got it in product design and development management
There you go.
because I wanted to make things. And so it's like my journey has always been around people and magic and mystery and making things and creation. And so I always knew that I had a calling for something, towards something, but I could not tell you what it was. I never knew what it was. I always knew I had a purpose, but I never knew like what the hell, what is it, you know? So then I'm in these places and I'm excelling and succeeding and in very, you know, human collective terms of it,
Right.
while at the same time feeling completely unfulfilled. So I was like, all right, every year, even when I started my role in HR, just beginning to the end, I was like, okay, I know this is not what I'm meant to be doing. I just don't know what I'm meant to be doing. So we'll just keep on chugging along, right? We'll be creating everything that I can and experiencing everything that I can just to see like, all right, what is it not? And so I chose to then transition from HR and corporate to running my own coaching practice. And I loved coaching. And that was all around, again, like changing circumstances and ease and centering ease as people build out their dreams and their businesses and their lives. And can they do what they want to do and experience ease at the same time? Can we create from a place of ease? And so much transformation happens. So then I did that and I was like, great. Everything that it happened. So then I hit earlier this year in January and I was like, all right, all the things checked off the list, right? I'm now, you know, I'm in my mastery, been working with Pamela, everyone, you know, find my community, all that stuff over this last like 2 years, right? A lot of self-work, a lot of who am I, a lot of mysticism, became adept in mysticism as well, right? So my journey has just shifted so much and transformed to where like now I know my purpose. I know my calling. I just don't know what it will look like, how it will unfold. And I've had to surrender and be like, you know, like I can't, just like my flow, I can't just let me map out flow. Let me plan out flow.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work
That's
that
a
way.
way that will block it, but
it
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. So I've had to, you know, like I feel like it's a lot of unlearning in this mystical journey, especially in the devotion as a mystic, right? The one role where I'm like, yes, this is my soul archetype. Like this is who I am. Mystic is definitely there.
Yeah.
How's that been to unfold and what it's meant to look like it's been shifting so rapidly. Like even in the last few months, right? It's from coaching, I've had to like pause just to make space to say, all right, I'm not going to do anything, right? I'm not going to be in the same role in the same way while I'm making space for grace to show me. And so I've been making space and through that, I mean, who would think that I'd be painting? I remember like before I went on my trip to Egypt, I was in Egypt for over a week, almost 2 weeks in May. Magical. But before I went, I had this like nudge, like, oh, you should paint. Oh, you should paint. Add some more color in your life. And I was like, how the hell is that supposed to right? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't know. Like, what does that mean? Like, I write, I coach, I hold space. You know, like I'm master at all these. Like, what the hell? You know, like I don't know. Like, is it a waste of time? So then I leave. I come back from my trip, and I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm gonna paint. I need to stop. My saboteur, my inner saboteur, is a perfectionist. So for all of you to know, she is a perfectionist. And she is hardcore, okay? She's sneaky, she's strategic, She's strategic. So then I've had to let that go of oh, what does this mean? How are you going to use that? Da, da, da. And I've just been prolifically creating, just in essence. Who knew like embracing flowers and florals would be guidance and guides for me, right? That allows me to tap back into my essence. I know that I am a master at guiding people back to themselves. I know that that is undeniable, period. I know I am incredible at doing it, holding space. People are incredible, right? Like we do this journey together. That is,
And you see people so clearly.
oh, and it's like,
The clarity.
just the illumination. I feel so honored. I just feel so many tears just wanting to well up of like being able to hold space for people. It's like I can't even, there's so much that I can't even describe. It's ineffable. It is, I like, there's so much reverence in that. I honor that. I honor being that. And one of my souls, as I was doing my tree of life, you know, our journey through the kingdoms and
Yes.
mysticism, and Lightbender kept coming up, and Yeshua was like, Lightbender, and I was like, what the hell is this Lightbender thing? And in every lifetime, right, I'm like this divine paradox where, you know, I can't fit into a box, don't want to. People try to fit me into a box, they can't. And as a light bender, it's like I am in my darkness, embracing it, as well as being in my light and being able to see another's light in the many ways that it comes through, being able to reflect it back to them and have them see, okay, like, how do you want to reflect now? Like, this is you. And it's not me telling you who you are. It's me being like, this is what's coming through. This is you, right? Like you uncovering it and having those aha moments and like, oh shit, right? Like, this is who I am. This has been me the whole time. I felt the nudges. I've heard the calling. Like, oh my, right? When you have those moments of illumination, just the amount of just, I'll say, as hopefully no children are listening, but the what the fuckness. You're like, what? What? It's like, and so it's an honor. And so I say all that, I have no clue how this journey is unfolding, Alanna. Right now, I'm just reveling in just the writing that's coming through, the channelings that are coming through, the florals, flowers that are just speaking to me, the paintings that I feel like I want to create now. I don't know if that means that I am taking just one-on-one channeling, right, in that space that we hold together, to channeling out, all right, here's a portal to your soul, and it's in form. There's something about putting something into form. And I would love for you to talk about this, where, because I know, you know, I imagine you now, I get your whole essence downloading into me of you and that piece of jewelry, and you like melding it together. And it's just nothing like taking formlessness, right, as whatever we want to call it. For me, it's like grace and vibration and frequency, some very vibrational frequency based being, and making it into form. And now I feel like that's the journey I'm in now, of making it into form. And as Pamela says, now it's time for me to get on my bicycle and ride, right, and choose, just choose, right, like, all right, here's here it is, here's how I want to create, and then let's roll with it. Like, I would love for you to talk about what that's like for you, because I am, when I tell you the fulfillment, like these pieces of me that I knew were calling to me, but I didn't know, like, I don't know. And now that I am just exploring them through these mediums of paint, color, sound, vibration, everything, I'm like a whole new person. It just, I feel like my soul is singing through me.
It's you.
It's me. Yes. Give us the everything. I want to know everything about that in your world.
Well, okay, so I was raised, my mom was a math teacher. My dad was a computer engineer. So I was raised based on like logic first, just like a very logical family. My sister, like she is an analyst. Now she like does other like data related stuff, but like super logical. Math was my favorite subject. Um, very like Christian home as well, but still just like straight up logic and what's in the Bible. That's how I was raised. And I was a super creative child, but like once I went to college and everything, it was like prioritizing the logic. What makes sense for me to study because it's the best for me to know in the real world. So I was like, well, I like math, so I like it enough rather. It's not even that I liked it. It was like compared to all the other options, I like math enough. So I'll just do that. So through all these years after college and just continuing to go down that logical route and then discovering that I'm a creative, like what? I'm an artist. I can create things. I would always say to my friends, like, oh no, I'm not good with my hands. I'm not an artist at all. Even though like I was a musician, I played the violin. I wasn't passionate about it, but I played it for like 15 years. So that's another thing, like going through life, doing these things because you're felt like you're supposed to, right? But not really feeling it within your soul, not like you're not I wasn't illuminated by it. I just did it because. And then all of a sudden life is just like, hey, it's like a light switch or maybe like a dimmer, like it like or sunrise. Like because I remember I was at work at my full-time job and I thought to myself, I guess this is life. I'm just good at making a lot of money. And that's also, I guess that's just the rest of my life. And then I thought my life would just be like making a lot of money, but not being happy at work, just feeling like drained and whatever. And then started having an awakening and everything just completely changed. So, to your question about putting things into form, that's life, that's cycle. When you're using your hands, I feel like this is why it's so important for people to use their hands and why I get so much guidance for people. Like people spirit guides will tell me like, tell her to go paint, tell her to use a coloring book, an adult coloring book or something, just because like you need that divine spark. You need to just tap into that creativity again, that inner child within you, even if it's crappy, to get out of that logical thinking, to allow you to say like, oh, what if I color outside the lines this time? What if I play with this paint color now? And then you start to understand the cycle of life more that way once you get out of your logical side of things and use your hands and you just tap into your divinity. I just see like you opening up your crown and just like light coming down straight through you. And then I want to make sure I'm answering your questions too. I don't want to go on a tangent, but
we're
this is
mystic.
what I see when like you start opening up your creativity is a direct light from the cosmos, from the heavens going straight through you, like a platinum light. And it's just like going straight down into the earth's core. Just a direct light. And it's like cuts through the denser energies and just like an immediate portal from the heavens, from the cosmos into your soul, and then down into the earth. So it's not just you that's being transformed. It's not just the creator being transformed. It's everyone that touches the energy related to your creations. Because the creation that you make in the physical is a portal for that type of energy. And it's accessible to anyone who has that, who's able, for ears that are able to hear. For people who are able to receive it at whatever level they're able to receive it. So while I see so much energy and movement in your pieces that you make, someone else who is not as tapped in, let's say, or receptive, will see something else. We'll see maybe like a little activation, but won't quite understand it. But there's such expansiveness, like the painting that I pointed out earlier, that's a portal to me. Actually, that's like several portals to me. I see it. It's just like insanity. I'm like, what is that? I'm just immediately attracted to it. So that is what that is. We're opening up worlds when we're allowing these things to take shape. And what's happening is that, like, let's say God is whispering in our ear about creating something, and then we don't do it. It's like you get a phone call from your soul and you don't pick it up. You just hang up.
That's deep. So accurate.
It's like you're cutting off a channel, like you're cutting off a part of yourself in a way. It's like you're creating a dead end. When you receive this gift, the gift being this creative idea, and then it's your job to just to go with it, because we are in form, we are human, that's our job, to take care of like the physical, to get that started. We know like the laws of the universe and how the kingdom of God work. Like, we need the physical. It needs like Malkuth. We need that. It's all important. Did I answer you?
Yes. What's coming up is like these portals, these beacons. It's us allowing, not even allowing, it's not even just bridging, our divinity and our humanity, or bringing heaven to earth. It's really that what's coming up is us going from Malkuth to Kether, and then bringing Kether back to Malkuth and channeling it in its pure form through us and through our filter. And our filter being our soul's unique expression, the ways that it's coming through for us and allowing that to happen. I keep getting this image of gold. And what's coming up is, I don't know the process you did to make my soul amulet, but I'm getting, what is this? The word bezel is coming up. I don't know if that's bezel.
Yeah. The bezel
okay.
that holds the garnet.
Okay, yeah. Your soul's telling me things. So the bezel, right? I'm getting this image of you like fusing together the bezel with the base of the amulet. And it's like a close-in shot of like that gold, like fusing together. What's coming up for you in that?
Well, the phrase that you coined, you termed divine fusion.
Yes.
And how there's a lot coming up. Let's focus. How there's so many elements involved in the fusion of life. And it's also controlled in a way. Like when you're fusing, it's a controlled melt. You're melting the gold, but in a controlled way, and you're controlling it through the fire. You don't want too much heat, you don't want too much flame, or it will just completely melt into, it'll just form a ball. Too much heat on it, it will all just go into one big ball, and that's what we don't want. That we want it to be just, you can finesse it enough so that it just fuses perfectly in place the way you want it. And we're not trying to push the limit of gold. We know how gold wants to work. Gold loves the flame and the fire. We're not trying to change the way gold is at nature. We already know gold does what it does. So if we want it to go a particular way, we know that we need to like put some type of barrier, for example, or like prevent it from, use something as like a heat sink so that the heat goes to a different place rather than the gold and everything. Let me ask my higher self what she's getting at. Do you ever get
Take
these
your time.
You ever get like so much information that you're just like, ah.
That is me on a daily basis. I'm very long-winded. So when someone asks me to succinct, I'm like, I can't.
That's how I feel right now.
Don't let your ego get in the way. Just
Okay.
whatever your soul wants to say, however long she wants to say it, have her take her time. She's like,
I'm sorry.
she's like, we'll wait. We'll wait for Alanna's ego to get out the way.
I'll step out of the way. Exactly. Sometimes my ego's like, well, you're still talking.
I know, my ego is like, wow, damn it, did you even describe that right? Like, does that even make any sense? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what? I understand.
Okay. Tapping back in.
Yeah, your soul's like, have I ever steered you wrong? So who are you listening to?
What was the question? Oh, about US. Okay. Your bezel, the bezel and the
fusion, yeah.
Yes.
The oozing gold. What the word ancient is coming up for you. So what is that meaning for you? Like something with you and fusing gold and the oozing of gold. Like I see this running river of gold, like heated and running. Gold has been coming up a lot for me. It always comes up a lot for me. It's been coming up a lot in material. For some reason, like mixed material, different materials I want to use in a painting or an expression.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, it's it's coming up in a way that's like something about your past lifetime with gold in this very ancient place, giving me something around Egypt, like something with that is coming up for you. What is your soul saying?
Well, gold is healing, and you can program it. You can code the golds to give off specific energy, right? Because it what's this energetic term? It's almost electric. Like you charge it to do a particular thing, to do its work. It also wants to talk about your piece and what it's doing for you. But let's talk like big picture. You charge the gold. In ancient times, they charged the gold to do a particular thing. And they use the Book of the Dead. You can see like the passages in the Book of the Dead to see what ancient spells that they used on it. And you've seen it in ancient Egypt. They have the hieroglyphics on specific pieces as well. Everything has the jewelry they would use had a specific purpose. So it's not just that gold itself is magical, because it is magical. It's from the cosmos. It's created when two stars collide. Like that's like, what? That's crazy. And then it's encrusted in the earth. What? That's crazy. When I think about it, I'm like, what? That's how gold is created?
that. Wait a
It's not
minute.
just
Wait
like
a minute. What was coming up is like your soul's like, and our soul's like, gold is not some basic, you think it's a basic mineral, okay?
it is
It
not
is
a
not.
basic. Like, people love gold for a reason. There's a reason. It's not like diamonds, where like diamonds are just like, they were heavily commercialized and everything, and that way. No, like it is like so special. It's so special. Okay. Gold is very special. Okay, I'm getting back.
Yes.
Gold is not always special, but any of the gold that we're wearing today could have been used thousands of years ago. It could be the same gold that is repurposed and has that same energy in it. And that is incredible. What else would you like to say? I'm asking my soul. So there's a lost art form when it comes to using gold and making jewelry, in terms of putting that energy behind it, that intention behind gold. People now, they wear it to wear it, which is fine, but there's so much more to it. When you speak to the gold, when you whisper into it about how you'd like help, it's like whispering a prayer into the gold and say, like, please help me with grounding, please help me with my awareness, I want to see more, I want to see myself more, like things like that you can do with the elements help. So with the help of the fire, with the help of the water, like it's all depends. There's many different spells is what my higher self keeps calling it, because I think that's what they called it at the time. Don't be afraid of that word. Spell is spells.
Words are spells.
Words are spells, exactly. So thank you for that. Yes, words are spells. So it's a lost art form. And why is that? Because people are afraid of themselves, is what my higher self is saying. People are afraid of themselves and the beyond. We want to believe that things are just so surface level. And this is something Isis was saying in that the Ring of Undoing. She was saying about the world, the majority of the world wants to be surface level. We as mystics, we're not surface level. There is much more to what we can't learning.
We can't be, even if we wanted to, at least even where we are in our path. It's even in the days where you just want to human out, it is so, you can't turn it off, right? People want to turn on their third eye, have all the, you can't turn it off.
Yep.
You're like a walking antenna. You can't turn it off. So yeah.
Yes. So part of it, like, this is what someone called dimming your light as well, just trying to make it like a surface thing, like this is just this is only what it is. I'm just gonna wear this like this chain, it doesn't mean anything, it's just a chain. Like, that's bullshit. Is what saying, like, we cannot live our lives this way anymore. That's why people are depressed, that's why people, like, their bodies are failing them, because it's like it's giving off the energy that things are meaningless.
Where's the sacred?
Yep. So where's that discovery within ourselves? Where is that these days? There are whispers of it, but even as humanity is waking up, it's still like she's saying it's not enough. Herself is like, it's not enough. because people are still getting scared and they're doing shallow spiritual seeking, meaning like you care more about aliens in the sky than your heart and what's going on within you. And people are like, I don't feel at home on earth. Of course you don't feel at home on earth because you're not making it a home for yourself. And how are you going to find your people? This is going much deeper than I thought it would.
Your soul is like, and this will I have your attention. No, it's right. I feel like, and we've all been at every stage. I don't even want to call it a stage, right? Like we are all in this. We are all co-creating this. And it's these moments where we bring ourselves, but maybe the question is, are we mastering that awareness? Because that's really what it is.
It goes into like your question about bringing things into form. It's cyclical. Yeah. There's some part in the cycle that we forgot its importance, and so like we drop the ball
and then pick it back up.
Yeah.
So some picking it back up, like, but the majority is like don't even know that it's there. Yeah. It's under sand or something.
What I'm being shown is that we drop the ball at like putting it into form. Forgetting that, oh wait, like it's God and us.
Yes.
You know, you can have all these spiritual gifts, be tapped in, hear things, and then what? How are you going to use that in form? What are you just meant to like keep that to yourself? What, you're not meant to like develop these gifts more, like, and know yourself? What is just like my higher self speak? My higher self's like, you're just gonna be useless? You think you came to this earth to be useless? You came onto this earth to be yourself and to know yourself. What does that mean? What are your natural gifts? How can you use that to help yourself and the world? And that's it. And it's a cycle. So there's an ebb and flow of things. We put things into form. You know how long it's taken me to find my soul family, like in form? I've had years where I'm just like, oh man, like I would so love to like find my people. And like I felt them in my heart, but it's like, how am I gonna find these people? It's a cycle. It's taken years. I didn't even know myself. I wasn't even being myself. But when I was able to just express myself the way I am in this moment, in this now moment, my people found me. We found each other. I could keep going, but tell me what's on your mind.
I'm here for all of this. Oh, there's so much coming through. There's so much coming through. There's just so much more in me. And I feel like my amulet, Amiyata, she's like, yes, give me this light, give me this goodness, right? She's very warming and she'll warm it up. She'll warm me up. I remember it's hot as hell in Chicago. And I'm like, Amiyas, it is hot as hell and you love the sun and the sun's just gonna on me. She was like, are we rolling? Or are we not? Right? It's what's coming up that is most pertinent for the collective is grace, right? I feel like we're a record on that one, but it is, and it's not even something just outside of you. It is something that is so within you. It is so your essence is a fractal of this grace that is so ineffable, that mystics and poets and people from all backgrounds, all life, all walks of life, whether you deem it worthy or unworthy, have been trying to codify, trying to bring this grace into form for millennia. And it's the attempt. Why do you think so many have dared to attempt to bring something into form that the human mind can never comprehend? Can you imagine? You know that they will never comprehend it, yet it is your life's purpose, your soul's whole mission to bring something into form and attempt to. Can you imagine, right? And being like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. What the hell, right? Who in their quote unquote right mind, in the way that humans define it, would pursue that? That is the path for millennia. Why do you think that is so? What if it's so that we can remind you of what you already are? Just giving you a glimpse of it, of that experience of it, of making space for it to arise, because no one can gift that to you. It can never be taken from you. It can never be given to you. You can make space for it to arise within you, around you. You can make space for it in your awareness, that subtle awareness, right? This looking outside of you. We look outside of ourselves. You, we humans, everything. I am she is me. So I will speak as we, right? My higher self, right? We look outside of ourselves for that which is already within us. And we constantly do it. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If it's loving for you, because that is the journey, right? That human path, that human journey. You cannot remember with the mind most of the time. So you have things outside of you to reflect back to you. Think of everything as a mirror. And what is it attempting to show you? What light within you is it attempting to show you, even in the darkness? What darkness within you is it attempting to show you? All of these are leading you back to the same place, back to grace, back to the grace that you are, back to the love that you are, back to that everything that you are seeking, longing for, that you are. All of it. It's maddening for you, is it not? Yet thrilling if you are allowing yourself to look upon life here on this planet, on Earth, in a way that allows space for grace. No one said this would be easy. You're not here for this to be easy. And if you're listening to this and you're not ready to hear that, we love you. And it is okay. Take your time. Take what is loving for you from this, and whatever is not in this moment, release it. Trust your inner guidance on that, right? Your true inner guidance. If it's your ego, give your ego a moment. Sometimes you got to let the babies wail out in the middle of the grocery store while you give yourself a peace of mind. And once they're done, they come back to you, right? Oftentimes that can be the ego. But this is all here for you, all reflecting back to you, all of this. And that is what has been forgotten. Not just that we are grace, that we are fractals, all of this beautiful stuff. Not just that, but also the human side of it. You are here in form. You get to create in form. You're looking to your guides to tell you what to do and show you. And they're like, look, you're in form. You get to taste. You get to touch.
They can't do that.
Right. And they're like, come on, right? Each lifetime, you're bringing something, whether you consider it new or old, into form. You get to do that as form. And so what has been forgotten there is that sacredness, the process of making it sacred, of bringing something into form and making something sacred again. And the collective is struggling because one, right, them forgetting themselves, all of us in many moments. And okay, if that is true, how do we get back? How do we tap in? How do we, what's how do we find ourselves again? And it's these little moments we were talking about earlier where I call it, it's like these like little secrets. It's like these little secrets that you and your soul have. Like you don't remember the freaking secrets, but your soul does, right? And your soul is like
temporary amnesia.
Right, you have temporary amnesia. Your soul's like right, like it'll drop like a little clue somewhere, have a little secret here between you and your soul, like something 5 years ago you just completely ignored, but then it comes up in a new way like this year, and you're like, oh my gosh, my soul was like, what the hell? Like you were hinting this whole time, and I wasn't in on the secret, but like now I am. Right? It's these little secrets, these many little rituals that your soul calls you towards for making things sacred again. So back to your question, like how are we telling God no? When you tell the God within you no, right? Not some concept of God in the sky, right? We as humans, we created all these archetypes of God, right? Like you have cosmic consciousness. It's just vast. You are vast, right? These are our forms. So we'll go with it. But it's a God within you, within you. But when you tell you the God within you know, you're like, no, I'm not gonna make this thing sacred. I'm not gonna go on this journey to come back to myself. No, I'm not gonna pay attention to this clue that's hinting at the thing that I've been asking for, praying for, wishing for, begging for, and waiting for it to come in a certain form that I think it needs to come in and that I need to like. Like, what the hell? Your soul's been hinting the whole time. It's like neon flashes, but you're thinking that the neon sign is like in green and your soul is flashing you pink. You're like, I'm not feeling pink, so I'm not gonna look at it. And your soul's like, come on, you know? So then they gotta send angels and all these things that you deem super mystical rather than, oh, the toilet overflowed and maybe that's a sign for you to just, hey, calm the hell down. Maybe you should pay attention. Like it's so the paradox. We forget that being in form is a paradox. You are formlessness in form. That is already paradoxical. You're a light and darkness, right? You need darkness in order to see light. Like, right, the paradox in that and the little mysteries along the way that your soul is like, hey, this is how I'm hinting for you to come back to me, for us to enjoy this our little secret together. That's not really a secret, but you can't remember, so it's our little secret. In this way, it's just miraculous.
Yes, to all of that. And the only thing that I want to add is that using our hands, like creating things with our hands, like creating art, reminds us of our true nature and how nature works. That's what it does. It reminds us of that cyclical nature, and that's why we need to do it. Not this bullshit about like this corporate bullshit, being outside of our bodies, being outside of our hearts. And that's what nature, I'm quoting right now, that's what nature has become. No. That is such a fast way for us to understand true nature, cosmic law, by using our hands, making art.
Alanna, I feel like that can be a whole just series in and of itself, because I had so many revelations last night, right? I was doing spiritual development homework. I'm reading the Sefer Yetzirah, and I did the first chapter. You gotta read all the intro in order to understand. You just can't dive in because it gets there. So the first chapter, I read the first visualization that called to me to incorporate my life. And in that, like an invocation came through, and I'm sharing it because it's powerful. I speak creation. I shape creation. I birth creation. And for me, that was a melding of all of my worlds. Threes have been coming up powerfully, like always, but just for some, right? Like I don't want to say for some reason, my soul knows why, right? It's coming up, right? Past, present, and future melding together in the now. Mind, body, soul melding together in the now, right? This heaven and earth and that in between, which I find to be, right, our soul as a channel, right, as the bridge as well. And when I say I speak creation, it's that formlessness, it's that sound, that vibration. I shape creation. That's like the archetypal world in mysticism, right? Before we come to physical form, it's a conceptual, right? Like that forming. Think of like the stars whirling into something before it becomes a star, the cosmos. And then I birthed creation. And what came up for me was like literally legs spread open in divine womb out into the ethers. I am the universe, and like color as light, like pouring out of the womb into being, right? And into beings, into form, into physical form, into all of the forms that we find in between that, whether it's not hardcore physical and matter as we as humans deem it. And I learned in that moment, I had a realization, what you just said, of the making being so essential, especially to our bringing, right, the formlessness into form. Like we are here in physical form to do just that. No one else can do that, right? Your guides can't physically do that. And the gift that is, right? Before, I feel like when you're beginning your journey, you're trying to get out of this like very physical world and tap into, right, what people call your higherness, right? Being higher, your higher essence, etc., those higher frequencies and all that. And you do, and you need to, what's coming up, you need to vibrate at that frequency so you get the dust off, so you can shed. You need to vibrate so rapidly that you are shedding all that is not real for you, right? And so you get there and you're there and you ascend, you do all the things, and you're allowed, right? You still have this physical form. The body hasn't been like, all right, you don't need me, right? And then you hit a certain point in your journey where, all right, now you are right in your form, right? You're back on earth level, and you're trying to pull that into physical form, and the process of that and the magic in that and the grace in
It's
that.
labor. It's child.
Oh,
It's labor. You're
you are
pure labor.
birthing, you're pure labor. You're birthing that, but just the appreciation for being able to do that, I feel like now on my journey, I'll speak personally, is greater than it has ever been before, because I understand, I have that inner standing, right, of who I be, who I am that I am. And yeah, I am here in physical form, and bringing that formlessness into form becomes, right, like, all right, that's like your soul's mission. How the hell do you do it? And for me, sitting there with these revelations, I kid you not, and you just said that, I had so many divine revelations within that. Tell me about your revelations. Oh my gosh, because for me, the physical, bringing something into physical form was like a toothache, right? It was like, it has to happen. I don't know how, but it has to. That call and that pull, it was like a freaking yank. Like it has to happen. And the painting, and that has been a way. The flowers have been away, and I had this vision, because my Lemurian guide has been coming up and appearing to me in so many facets and forms and ways that, like, in my Lemurian form, my guide, who is me, right? You are your guides. You likely have had a lifetime as your guide, right? You think that they're up here shining. Many of them are informed too. Some of them not. Some of them informed. And as a Lemurian being so many years ago, millennia ago, it was as if what the phrase that came up, and I'll channel this through again, was like, humans now like worship the gods. It's like, imagine how humans worship like the Egyptian gods, the Greek gods, etc. But we'll go Egyptian because even the Greek gods worship the Egyptians one. But that's the one you can really feel the reverence and honoring, right? Like the humans worship their gods, the Egyptian gods. Those Egyptian gods like had reverence and honor to the degree for, they look to elements like that. They look to plants and metals like and gold like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Lemurian, right? If we're going in human time, concept of time, right? The Lemurians, like, it was as if the plants and the flowers were beings, animated beings themselves, right? That deep reverence for them, talking to them, gaining wisdom from them, like dancing with them, being in their essence, reminding them of their truth in form. When you're this dense, you forget. You're not vibrating at where you would normally be, right? Quote unquote, normally. So you have these reminders, right? From your soul being like, here's my soul essence. And the flower, the being is like, this is a reminder of your soul essence. They do this now, but then it was like, I had this vision of like at night, under the cosmos, in this field of like lush emerald green vegetation. And these flowers were like these deep jeweled colored, right? Colored, and they were beings as well. And Lemire's would be talking to them and holding them, and you could hear the flowers like in their sound. They vibrated to the point where they're vibrated so rapidly and at a quote unquote high frequency that you could hear their tones communicating back and feeling the elements communicating back. I mean, like, just what? And now, like, this bringing into form, allow each of these things are like portals unlocking memory, deep-seated, right? Seeds come up for so much, right? Deep-seated memory again and again. And I know you feel that when it comes to soul jewelry, your jewelry. I know you feel that when it comes to anything you're creating, right? Because you secretly are creating something that you haven't been sharing that you're creating, but you do, because I'm getting that from your soul, FYI. She's telling on you, right? Like, all right, these forms in which we create, and being able to, that awareness of that. And when you're making space for these things to arise, when you are in these many rituals that you don't even know are rituals that your soul has been giving to you, so you can reawaken, so you can remember your deep remembrance, and you have these flashes of your freaking past lifetimes, what you deem past, which are not past, time doesn't exist, but we'll go with that, right? Like your Akash comes and is like download, and you're like, oh my gosh. And you right now, how you're making right now, and it comes through how you're making now through your filter now. Oh my God.
Wait, you're muted now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
That must have been, that was in my soul. So it's like my soul is like, Diamond, you're like in dolphin mode, like you're gonna blow the mic. Sorry, so sorry. That's right. Dolphin mode, right? Like the flowers, the beings then they were before the dolphins. That's how the dolphins learned to sing, like learn their tones, right? That's what came through too. And it's like,
that's awesome.
You get to what? And now these things come through with putting into form. For me, it's like florals come up so much. And I have no human clue of like, how the hell am I supposed? I don't know. Right. So out of my, what people would deem my norm. But like, how can you not answer your soul's calling? How can you tell God no? How can you tell God no, Alanna, when things are coming through you and you're getting like your Akash wide open pharaohs and who people deem as goddesses coming through, adorning jewelry, making it, right? adding those sacred incantations to it, it doing the things, it performing it, like, how can you tell God, no, I'm just gonna not?
Yeah. That's like that's like me saying, no, this ancient work that's thousands of years old, no, that's not important. I think I just need to focus on how I can make money in a way that is miserable.
Yeah, how it can fit in, quote unquote.
Fit in, yes.
Can you, like, we talk about, oh, just what?
Yeah.
There's just so much juiciness, like golden, luxurious, creamy juiciness just oozing out of that. And it's for everyone has that within them that's waiting
Yes.
to be unlocked.
And then, like I'm just thinking about you and your journey with flowers and plant medicine, and how you could have very easily said, like, oh, how is this going to pay my bills? You could have just been like, I was going to pay my bills. But you're tapping into such sacredness, and your explanation, I'm not going to explain, because you explained it so well about the flowers and the vibrations and the dolphins and the, like, and imagine you saying, no, God, I don't want to play with flowers because that doesn't seem important. I don't want to play because that doesn't seem important. I need to do something more serious. What if you said that? I need to do something that sounds serious.
You're channeling my ego. You're channeling my ego right now. Totally. Completely channeling my ego. My ego's like, oh, telling on me. My ego's looking around like, that was me.
Sounds familiar.
Right, like, okay, come on, fiery grace. All right. Yeah.
Play is sacred.
Yes. Oh my God, that's a whole episode too.
It is a whole episode, but let's, like, play is sacred.
Play is sacred. Yes. We've become so serious, so in the mind, so in what we've programmed for the mind, because the mind had some programming then, what we deemed then back then, but the level of programming, we've programmed it with so much fear, so much not, so much disbelief, so much. My ego's playing with me right now. I'm trying to use the word sacrilegiousness. Just like, is it triggering you? That's not, is it triggering you? Right? Like, so much desecration, right? Of the sacred. Like, we've just been like, that's not it. Right? And all of these are definitely stronger calls for us to come back to the sacred, right? If we've gone to this extreme, it's for us to call us back to our deep remembrance. But, like, play is sacred. Play is so sacred, so incredibly sacred. That's how you make space. It's one of the most, that's how I made space. That's how I made space before I even, in my journey to get to where I am now. Literally, I had my coach at the time. She was fantastic. And she was like, you know what? Play. You need to play. And I had realized that I had not allowed myself to play for just the sake of playing for decades.
Same.
For decades.
Same.
Right? And then you allow yourself to play for even like a month, and look at where we are now. That was only like, what, a year, 2 ago? Like, play is sacred. Play is mastery.
What I'm thinking about, I'm getting the visuals. It's like when you actually, my higher self is so smart.
Yes, come through.
When you make a child, and you having sex. What a beautiful, fun, playful act. That's what all your creations would be like.
Orgasmic.
Orgasmic.
And that I can't even, and that doesn't even hint to the tip of, I'm going to continue because the play on the words here.
The tip.
Right, like that's not even getting, let's say, the tip of the iceberg for those, right? For the listeners, the viewers, right? It doesn't even get to the tip of the iceberg of what that experience truly is, right? An orgasm does not even, that experience does not even compare, using human words, does not even compare to the divine revelation and the grace and the bliss and ecstasy that follows when you are in divine play, in your essence. It does not even compare. How, Sway, as we say, how? Like, take that and can't even, like, it's like, knock it to the heavens. You can't even. You can't even.
Just the fact that, like, you and I, we have conversations. We'll just jump on Zoom and talk about it. We love talking to each other, and then we'll just drop the craziest truth bombs on each other. It just flows, and it's natural, and it's like there's no preparation involved. Doesn't matter what I eat before. Like when I plan for other channelings and stuff, I gotta like my body's clear. I can't have sugar, like all this stuff. Nope, I just had lamb before. I'm like,
I had some potato chips. No, yes.
But we're playing, we're having fun, and then it's just like a stream, just coming to. And it's incredible, and it reminds you of, like, yes, this is what creation should be like. No, it's not forced. It's just like, it just happens, and it just reminds me, like, okay, this is it.
This is it. Oh my! And when right, and it arises, and you can't plan for it to rise. Right? We tried that. I've tried it many times. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. Even if you think like, oh, I did this last time, it arose. No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No. So when it arises and you are aware, right? You are mastering your awareness. Can we have you are mastering your awareness when it arises and you notice it arising. You are in that space, tapped in instantly because you're noticing it arising. Okay, like you're like looking around. This right? Like you like grab your phone, click the record of the audio or the whatever. You like talking to yourself, like you're just channeling through whatever is coming through. You're like, oh, it's arising in this moment right here. Like, you cannot plan play, you cannot plan flow, but you can make space for it. Yes. You can make space for it. And that is like what's coming through of, again, back to that question of telling God no, right? Yep. It's nothing that you even have to do. You don't have to do anything. Nothing is being required of you in your doing. What is being asked of you is to make space, to hear, to notice, to be aware. That is it. Making space for play, for flow, for grace to arise within you. because we're looking everywhere else. Within you, it is with you, whether you are sitting on the toilet, whether you are walking your dog, whether you are talking to your plant, whether you think that you're having a shitty day, whether you're up here trying to make you a meal, whether you're watching Vampire Diary, like whatever the hell it is, right? It arises within you. It finds you. It finds you wherever you are. It is you. You tap in. The question is not whether it exists, whether it is real, whether it is accessible to you, right? The question is whether you're tapped into it, whether you're making space to tap in to it. That arising, that moment it arises, you cannot plan that. That is a moment where your soul is like, snap, right? Can't really snap, doesn't have fingers, you do, but we'll work with the human mind, right? Like instant, it's done. And so it is. It's that making space, right? We talk about, right, in design, like having space in your design for one to breathe, that white space, as they say, right? Spaciousness, darkness is necessary for that light to arise, for it to be seen, for you to breathe, right? The breath, right? All these elements coming through, the spaciousness. Look at the ocean, right? The spaciousness of that. You think the ocean notices when a raindrop drops within it? It does. It does, even within all that space. It's like, boop, hey, I was waiting for you. Tapped in, right? Like, oh, revelation.
How do you feel about closing with some messages from your beautiful amulet?
Yes. Can you, first of all,
go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, say, because she's like, I've been waiting. So I'm here for all this, and are you done? So please, yes. What's coming? Like, do you want to share the story of the amulet? How are you feeling? How's the body feeling? Do you want to, like,
how's my body feeling? My body, I feel like put on the spot, but like,
is that your body or your ego?
Oh,
like,
my ego. My body is like, and my body is reacting tense as a result.
Oh.
But like, I know how to.
We can check it out.
Authentic moments.
Check it out.
Because your amulet kept saying, okay, story time. Like, kept reminding me, like, I'm like, yes, I'm not gonna forget, okay?
She does that. She's like, just imagine her being like, I'm here, and I just imagine a goddess, just, you don't have to worship me, but I'm here waiting for you to worship me. Whenever you're ready.
So just describing Diamond's soul amulet, it's a beautiful garnet, a deep red garnet in the center, and it's a faceted stone, oval shaped, and then there's granulation surrounding it, and some wire work representing 4 elements and directions, and just 4 is such a sacred number. And I love that the garnet is centered around all of that. And then there's a handmade chain that accompanies it. And what would you like to say? Oh, she is reminding us, because I feel like I said this to you a long time ago, that she is a shield of protection, as well as amplifying particular energies to remind you of who you are and who you were and who you always or even when you forget it. So like in the ancient days, the days of like, there's like so many timelines that I've seen. I see something from Egypt, but then there's like all this other stuff that like I can't identify, but like honing in on the Egyptian time, like I see you just almost like Cleopatra in that garb, those garments and the headpiece, and just you're walking just tall and you're barefoot, you're walking on sand, and you're just remembering your grace in that moment. And the specific memory that she's showing me is like, it was not a comfortable moment at this time, but you still handled it with such grace. You were walking tall because you knew who you were in that moment. Even when there was discomfort surrounding you. I'm like tapping into like what I think accusations or something like really uncomfortable. Something really awkward happening, and you still, I think it was about your gifts, your spiritual gifts, like some type of accusation of you, like people accusing you of a specific type of witchcraft or something, or harming someone, but it wasn't the case. I think you did some work on someone and it didn't turn out the way you, like the ideal way, like you didn't heal them the way that society wanted them to be healed, and so you were accused of causing harm, and you just handled it. You walked tall regardless because you knew that you weren't doing it. It was spirit flowing through you, and what is. What is. So, and that was it. That was healing for you. So this person, they passed away. That's not what they wanted to happen. They wanted this person to survive, and you, that was healing for you. That's what was meant to be. Maybe this person needed to step away from form, and that was healing. That was a version of healing, even if the other people in society did not accept that. So she's reminding you of that for whatever reason. Do you feel that within yourself? Are you seeing anything, or have you seen
Yeah,
that?
I'm being reminded of like one of my lifetimes in passing through Egypt from Syria to Assyria to Egypt, and that being a time where a lot of who humans deem gods now being persecuted and being driven and exiled out of Egypt because of the superstition at that time. Egyptians were very superstitious around certain things, and so there was a lot of persecution going on at that time, and then a lot of like power and death and a lot of things going on then. So that's coming up, but this feels like, I don't know if it's parallel or whatever, timelines and humans, whole thing. But what's coming up is like walking on sand, and then like near water is coming up as well, and being in my truth and in my essence, and being like, what's coming up right in my soul is like unbothered, being unbothered by the world, being in grace so reverently, so fiercely, that that energy is unchanged, that I am unchanged, that I am so in my essence, that I am in my truth, that I am unchanged, right? No matter what followed, I am unchanged. That is what's coming up, unchanged. And so Amiyata for me, right? That's my higher self, right? My higher self and my soul amulet. Help me out the channels through my soul amulet. And remember, I was saying this is like my armor. It's my armor. It's my goddess armor. That's what I would call it, my goddess armor. Because when I wear, I feel protected and grounded in my being. And even in the days where I feel off, right? She reminds me, she whispers to me and reminds me. And there's so much sun energy. I have so much sun energy in me, right? Tifereth is like my one of my main kingdoms. And so, right, my sun goddess and all these things, so much sun energy, the illumination becomes so warming, right? I'm sweating. I always wondered, why the hell I'll be in a session with someone and I'll be puddles of sweat after, right? And my soul amulet being like unchanged. And that's her message for me. This is coming up for me because I am at the point of my journey and my mastery and my adepthood where I must be unchanged, where I must walk. I must continue to walk forward. I must choose. And then that I must be unchanged. And my ego, that's something, right? My ego has been, right? This, like, has to be this, has to be that, or I don't know, like what people think, this, that, right? Like that shedding of, you must be unchanged. Unchanged. Even those of us who are so sure of our truth, we are in our deepest knowing, know who we are. Those moments come up. Those moments of fear come up. Those moments of feeling like we're imperfect, or feeling like, oh, what if I do this? What if I can't? All of these things come up. In this mastery, you become aware and you create space and make space for the sacred, for you to return to the sacred and for you to remain unchanged. And so for me, all those things are coming up because that is my directive. It's not even a calling, that's a directive for me. Remaining unchanged in the what is it, the great work, as we say, the great work, remaining unchanged. What's coming up for you? Or is there anything else coming up for you?
Well, I hear your amulet. It's just saying, I was with you then, and I'm with you now. I've not left your side. I'm here.
Yes, yes. Oh, cannot tell you, like, I feel the energy pulsing through, right, my heart center. There's a reason why it landed right there, right? Have it right, what is this bone? I can't remember, like in between, right? The breastbone right there. It's like, oh, like right here. It's where I'm envisioning it. And it's there. And just the energy and the power, right? I can sense the gold armor, right? The gold
Gilding.
Yes.
What did I say? What I said, the protection of the gold leaf protection.
The gilding. Wait, we're having a moment, those of you who are listening or watching, because when Alanna asked, well, what's coming up for you for our topic for today? And gilding came up, and gold and all of these, gold leaf came up. And what's coming up now is just the sun of Ra, like not even the eye of Ra. It's like the heart of Ra. The heart of Ra. Before it was like the key of Ra came up for me like the other day. And then my soul is going deeper, right? The key is the heart. The heart. Why was the heart so important in those times? Right? Why is it weighed on the scale, right? In those times, right? In Egyptian beliefs. And that right here is like the heart of Ra. It rests at the heart of Ra. And that armor, right? Gilded. Just say more.
I'm looking at what I texted you because I know, like, when I said it, I knew it was channeling something that I didn't know what I was talking about. You know, when you channeled, you're like, oh, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I said we need that gilded leaf of protection too. And I was like, oh, protection? What is, huh? And then you just filled the missing. You fill that in for us.
It's I'm trying to, the image that's coming up is, I don't know what this is from, but it's like if you were to imagine, I don't know what magic they had back in the day in the ancient times, but this is what's coming through. So we'll flow with it. Of like placing the amulet on you and it wrapping gold, right? You wonder why Egyptians have so much gold. Wrapping the gold around you. What's coming up is like your wingspan and ice, right? Like and Hathor and all right, like wrapping for me around the breast, from the heart center up both breasts to the back where wings sit, right? And Horus is there. Horus is to the back of me, which I know has always been, because Horus is foundation for me. Allowing the divine feminine to come through in this lifetime a bit more. But like the wings of Horus there. And when the amulet is on, it wraps. It's like I don't know how to describe it, y'all, but it's like it feels like the energy, the gold energy wraps
like amplifies
around me. Yes, but it's like armor. It's that protection and that knowing, that deep knowing. It's so warming, so illuminating, right? That heat comes through because it's a reminder. It's like that energy pulsing through you, being like, it's here every time. And Horus, protector, right? And the main guides for protection for all. And so it's just, when you're talking about that now, it's just giving me so much. And I'm seeing now like so many flashes of lifetimes of even just knighthood, or comes up as people think of like Wonder Woman in the beginning of the scene, and she's in her warrior like wear with all the warriors and they're going to battle. Like that's coming up in amulet being there in the armor, right? Something on there, something with the head. Remember I was like, oh yeah, Alanna, something's coming up with like between the third eye and the headpiece for some reason. It's coming up too in your work. But like, whoa, just
yes.
yeah.
I feel like that was like a perfect story to close with, because just what we can't, I'm like speechless. Like what more can I say?
What more what does your higher self or one of your guides have to say to everyone as we close?
Let this serve as a testament that you are not alone. Anyone listening to us, you're not alone. And we're here to tell stories about our journey as humans, goddesses, light beings, channels, mystics, women in the world. And know that we're here. We're living it. It's not perfection. We know that we are divine. And through it all, we will stand tall with spirit flowing through our blood, our bones, our flesh, and know that we are one and of God. It is not easy. I hear again. It is not easy to devote yourself to something that so many people seem to be against because of fear of the unknown, but it's more than that. It's fear of going against the grain, going against these laws, these new laws. And new laws meaning like new way of doing things, grinding yourself until you no longer know yourself, until you're no longer a creative being, until you forget who you are, until you teach yourself to ignore yourself. Let us get out of that phase. Let us show others that it is possible by doing it ourselves. And you are not alone. And we can share our stories and just allow our voices to vibrate and be heard throughout all the lands. It just takes one voice at a time, one person at a time to speak, and then another person will listen and feel vibrant enough to be able to use their voice and to go on their path and be fearless. And then that will illuminate another and another and another. Yes. Do you have an invocation for us?
I invoke the inner knowing of all time through all space in all dimensions, folding in and out, within and without, all and all, to infinitum. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
Bye.